Hello everybody, I'm Renzo Mox and welcome to a combo model review. Now, I'm changing up my style of review a bit for the future Bionicle sets. Let me go over it. Basically, we have the introduction like we do now where I go over the box, and then we have the basic stages. We have form, function, accessories, and overall appearance. Or not overall appearance, sorry, overall thoughts. So, let's begin. This is set number, well, not really a set, this is two set numbers, 70794 plus 70795 to create this thing, which officially has no name. So, yeah, there's no box, there's no name. So, yeah, let's move on to the first part, form. So let's begin with how this guy looks. In terms of build, actually, he was pretty fun to build. And in reality, he basically is a skull grinder, I guess, enhanced. He's a lot larger, plus he has a lot of the same ideas. But let's just take a look at it from the feet. So, the legs are rather impressive. They have an interestingly put together Technic feeling. And you can't really see it from here, but if we move it to the side and move the weapon, you can definitely see what's going on in there. There's a lot of random Technic, and actually technically he has triple jointed legs. This part is so interesting and reminds me of classic Bionicle so much, with the Bow-Rock eyes and everything how it's put together. And I'll get onto this later, but the form is for the legs is pretty good. As you can see, they do take the silver legs, which makes sense. I mean, to hold this thing up, it would have had a lot of problems. The chest is kind of good, but I don't like how low it is this time around. The regular Skull Grinder chest was pretty low down compared to the actual Skull Grinder set. And we still have that really long neck, which makes it look a little gappy up there. I don't know. You can bend this down, and I actually think that looks semi-okay. I just don't like the way the neck kind of forms there, but I guess it's alright. The arms are definitely something that I don't like. Not only are they simple, which I don't ask for that much. I mean, the arms are fine, but there's too many colors. Every piece on the arm is a different color. You have gunmetal and gold for the actual armor, then you have silver and trans light blue for the bones, and then you have trans orange hands. So I think it's just a little too much. The weapons are meh. You have this large weapon right here, which I'll show you in the functions, and then you have this other weapon over here. And I don't like this weapon. It's a little too simplistic, it's a little too random, and frankly, you don't even really need the weapon. I think the weapon kind of, I don't know, almost ruins the model, but not really. By the back, we have more of the form. He has this sort of wing, I guess, idea, where they can actually get put down. And while they're down, this guy doesn't look too cool. I mean, some people will probably like that, and I know definitely there are definitely some people who like that look, but it's just not one for me. The wings up is definitely a better idea. They might not even be wings, actually. They could just be like, oh, they're probably not even wings. They're probably just like, I don't know, like a structure on his face, not face, on his back. Yeah, sorry. Now I like what they did with the Mask of Creation here. Kulta has horns, as most of you guys know. But here they gave him kind of this curve wraparound where they kind of form up. And I love the way how that looks. I do also like the gold armor. While it kind of breaks the color scheme, I think it works well for what they were trying to convey. I think it's like the gold is spreading from the Mask of Creation. That's basically the vibe that I'm getting here. And that's basically the look I get. It is a shame, though, because the legs have so much trans neon orange that the fact that the lack of trans neon orange from the above the chest is kind of sad. I don't know. It just seems lifeless there. But it is great. Now, I guess we'll touch on the articulation a little bit before I make this cut. The legs have articulation here. Of course, there is some here. Of course, you have some in the toes. And then you have one interesting one. This skeleton thing, I guess, works well in theory, but it can't work. It only works a certain way, where you have to bend the leg at the certain angle. Because of the poor connection, it just doesn't work out and ends up feeling really stiff. I mean, I like the fact that they were trying that. Trying new things, that is. The arms, of course, have 3, with being with the hand. However, you can't really get as much because of the new bone piece kind of blocks off any wrist twisting. Then you have the standard joint, and then both of those joint elbows and stuff like that. Then the head can move, and the neck can move, so you can get them up high like that. I actually think that looks a little better. Or you can get them down low, which I think looks alright, but I actually prefer it to be up. And of course, the aforementioned wings. Yeah, but that's really it for all the articulation and form. So, let's move on to the functions. There's not much for functions on this guy, but we'll take a look at to see what he has. First of all, I'll introduce the new one. He has this weapon, which is massive. It is gigantic. It's nearly as tall as his body, which I kind of like, but at the same time, it's just a little too big for my taste. However, it does implement a function. It's basically a mini version of the Scorpio function, and arguably a less impressive one, but it's still nice to have a function there nonetheless, whether it being really simple. Of course, there is the standard pop-off function that you have there, which is normal for, it's pretty much on every Bionicle set released to date, except for Lord of Skull Spiders and just a few others, like the creatures don't have them. But yeah, then there is the next gear function, which they actually did change up. You have the gear function, which, by the way, that gear juts out just a little far. I mean, I guess that's fair, which moves this arm. This is actually interesting because this is the first time on an actual, I guess, real figure made by Lego that we've gotten a gearbox that only moves on this arm, or on this arm, sorry. We haven't gotten it, I mean, sure, they've been, like, right-handed, but never left-handed, which is interesting. Actually, that's just what I believe. I could be wrong, because I remember, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the first left-handed gear function to just include the left hand. But again, I mean, I understand why they didn't put the gear function on this arm. The weapon is just too massive for this guy to use. Even, it doesn't matter how many gears you put in there, it's still way too big. But yeah, that's really it for the functions. There's nothing really else. So, let's go over the accessories. So there are no accessories in the set because it's not a set, it's just a combiner model. However, I will mention that there are a lot of leftover pieces, mostly from Scorpio. In fact, this is really just an alternate build between, Maskmaker versus Skull Grinder. However, there are a few things that does differentiate it from. It steals a lot of Scorpio's Technic parts. But instead of covering the accessories, we're going to be looking at this comparison. So you can see just how much these sizes really go up against each other, and I think it's interesting. Lego had the opportunity to make something this big for Skull Grinder. However, they didn't. They stuck with this, which is fine, but the problem is his size. In the animations, he's built up to be gigantic. However, as we see him, he's not that big. In fact, he's really not that big at all. He's a little smaller than Tahu, actually, which sucks because it takes away all intimidation. This guy is actually an intimidating foe. That's why I would have loved to see this guy as a set, but it's always there in case you want to build it, so yeah, there's that. Let's go on to my final thoughts now. So overall, what do I think of this combination model? Well, I like it. It's probably my favorite out of 2015, however, I still have yet to actually build the one from 2015, the Skull, nicknamed by Jang, the Skull Fajita. Yeah, I still have yet to actually name that, but I would probably really enjoy this. I mean, granted, it pretty much is just an alternate model, but I still love it. The pieces that are used are great. There are some awkward proportions, including the fact that the legs are gigantic and that the arms are so tiny. They really are so small compared to the actual model. Did I say that the legs are small? If I said that the legs are small, then I'm sorry. I meant the arms are small. But this is actually one of the best combination models that we've had, arguably, in years. I think it manages to get across the point, and people are theorizing about what this could be, and I personally think that it is, well, a lot of people think that this is Skull Grinder, who has the Mask of Creation, and who's, like, all upgraded and powered up, which makes sense. That's what I mentioned before with the gold spreading around his body. It really makes that feeling more prominent. I love this combination model. If you guys have the set, at least build it once, try it out, just see how it looks. And in the future, I'll eventually review all the combination models, because I'm slowly collecting all the sets that have combination models so I can put them on my shelves. But, thank you guys for watching. This has been a combi model review, and yes, I know, in the time of the video, it's really weird place to actually upload this video, but I just got the combination model, so, yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching this video. I'm Renzo Mox, and goodbye.